In the meantime, UNC, North Carolina, looked like the best team in the ACC when they beat Florida State earlier today. I'd say they took about 5 minutes of game time to get into a rhythm, but once they hit their stride, it was all over but the crying, right? By halftime, it was over. They ended up winning, going away by a whole bunch. The question has now pivoted to, did they look like one of the 4 best teams in the country? Did they look like a number 1 seed? Did they look like a number 1 seed regardless of how their game against Pitt turns out tomorrow night? I think they need one more.
Okay.
I think if they lose in the ACC championship, then we can start talking about they're a number 1 seed anyway. Right now, I think their floor is a 2 seed based on how they've looked all year, the wins they've racked up all year, along with a strong showing at least to start in the ACC tournament for their first game against Florida State. Their floor is a 2 seed, which is good for the ACC.
Sure.
I actually don't love using NCAA tournament seeding as a barometer for how great your conference is. I actually think it, in many ways, the ACC has proven that their low seeds have proven how bad the seeding process is because they so often overperform and outperform their seeding. But you would be foolish, right, to ignore that. In some respect, in some ways, the seed you get in the NCAA tournament is a amalgamation. It is a grouping of everything you accomplished that year, your resume of what you accomplished that year in the regular season and your conference tournament. So I want to see North Carolina get a 1 seed. I want to see every team in the ACC get as high of a seed as they possibly can. But I don't think North Carolina is quite there yet where they can rest on their laurels and say, hey, we're a 1 seed regardless of how these games break down. Now, if they play like they did today against Florida State earlier, you heard it right here on 99.9 The Fan. If they play as well as they played against Florida State tomorrow against Pitt, it'll be a similar result, and they will definitely be, in my book, a number 1 seed regardless of what happens in the ACC championship.
So if people are actually leaving comments, Chris actually agrees with you.
Hey, Chris.
In UNC, if they make it to the final game of the ACC, they should be number 1 seed. But Derek says, don't know how the Heels don't get a 1 seed no matter what. They beat Tennessee. They don't have any quad 3 losses, just like Arizona.
I don't think this is right, okay? I'm not agreeing with this. This is more of a prediction. I think the negative reputation of the ACC this year hurts them, right? So if you look at some of the other teams, UNC may have a similar, if not slightly better resume, but tie will go to the team that doesn't play in the ACC. For the simple reason of they don't play in the ACC. I don't know when this happened. I don't know why this happened. At some point, the ACC became like the Mountain West, and not actually the Mountain West.
Actually, not even the Mountain West.
I was going to say that I picked the worst Group of 5 conference to compare them to. At some point, they turned into like the Sun Belt, where you almost have to overcome your conference. And I don't know why. I don't know how. There's obviously still strong programs. There's 2 top 10 teams in the country, but I'm trying to predict what a committee would do here. And to me, the committee is going to look at UNC and say, well, they played an easy schedule because they're in the ACC and they did, and they're just going to nitpick. And it is subjective. I'm just going to start it here. This is why I've been having these conversations a ton on this show. This is why every single copper drop that we do on this show, Dennis is constantly saying more than 4.5 teams, more than 3.5 teams. All of these, we have these conversations a lot, is because the committee, ready for this? They're people.
Yeah.
They can be impacted. I don't know why this popped. Have you seen the movie The Internship? Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. So do I.
Underrated movie.
Oh, thank you. I could not agree more. There is a scene that actually is supposed to make the 2 main characters seem ridiculous, where they're trying to fix like a computer code. They're trying to find a bug in a computer code. And they go like, well, guess what? Somewhere in this building, there's the person that wrote the code. We could go find him. Let's call him Tony. All right, let's go find Tony. We're talking to him. Now all of a sudden we're kayaking with Tony and he tells us about the bug. Now we have the answer. In that case, it's really ridiculous because you could just solve the code by going into the computer. But when it comes to a committee, there are people on the, let's call him Tony. There's a Tony on the committee. The how the world is talking about these teams can impact Tony, whether Tony thinks it's or not, right? Whether the committee thinks they're the most objective people on the planet, whether they think they're the most unbiased people in the history of the world, or whether they think they are, persuadable. The fact of the matter is they hear the conversation, and for some reason, the national conversation this year has been about the ACC is down, the ACC doesn't have the top dogs, the ACC is down, and I don't have to agree with it or disagree with it to be able to predict how that's going to impact the seeding and the selection committee moving forward. I think there's a very good chance you're going to be able to put UNC, like let's say Pitt pulls off the upset. Blake Hinson catches fire. It's possible, right?
Yeah.
He scores 38 points on 17 shots, goes absolutely crazy, and Pitt wins the game. I still think there's a good chance you'd be able to take UNC's resume as it stands right now and put it up against a team that gets a number 1 seed, and you're going to go, I think I like UNC's more, yet they'll be the 2 seed. I think there's a good chance that happens because of this weird backlash that's been coming after UNC, and not just UNC, the ACC this year. It's strange. I can't explain it, but it's happening. And
it's a real thing.
And everyone's going to have to overcome it. If Virginia wants to make the tournament, they're going to have to overcome it. If Pitt wants to make the tournament, they're going to have to overcome it. There are quite a few things that need to happen. And by the way, everyone's aware of it. Steve Forbes in the postgame, right? Wake Forest loses to Pitt. He started campaigning in the postgame, right? He said that was a hard-fought game between two teams that both deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. I don't think there's a chance that both of them get into the NCAA tournament, but the campaign, hey, sign me up, right? Where's the what do they call when they collect signatures? Where's
Petitions?
the petition? I'll sign.
Yeah.
I'll sign. Put me down.